Welcome back, guys. So this weekend I have a handful of videos that are going live that are a little different than what I normally do. They're interview videos, and I do not fancy myself an interviewer whatsoever. But when this goes live, it's AtGames National Owners Day, where they do a bunch of celebrations, giveaways, special promotions, deals through GameStop, a few other things. Nate approached me if I wanted to participate. Some of the ideas, things that I'm not really all about, but the idea of doing an interview with different members of the team kind of struck me as interesting. Out of my element, could be a learning experience. Figured, you know what? We've talked a lot about this company in the past. You know, the ups and downs just a few years ago, all the craziness that was going on, to recent times with some of the more interesting things. Figured, let's go ahead and do it. So that's what we're doing today. I try not to interrupt too much, but I can't guarantee anything. Like I said, I'm not an interviewer by trade or anything like that. But let's go ahead and get this party started. All right, guys. So we've got several people part of the pinball team that we're going to be talking to, getting a little more insight on what's going on with pinball, how everything's working. We've got with us today David. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, how you doing? I've been working with AtGames on the pinball side of things, mainly originally focused on the cloud pinball, and now I'm working on leading the openly connected pinball group, the interfacing into the new AtGames Legends pinball product.
Awesome. Matt, what's your part in all this?
Yeah, thanks, Ron, for having me. Yeah, I do beta testing, help out with the firmware builds, test out features, new games, all the hardware aspect side of things, testing wise. So when the dream team thinks up stuff, we test it out. So I'm part of that team that helps test.
Excellent. And Dr. Mo, what's your part?
Yes, nice to be here. I have been working with the pinball mainly in the hardware side, manage the R&D team to come up all the products for the market. I have been with a game for it's long, 15 years or 16 years.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
That's the long. We build up. I work with PK together. We start from 2 people, 3 people, the company, and all the way up to this moment.
Awesome. When was the start of AtGames? I'm not even aware of when AtGames first became a company. So was that the beginning?
About 2002.
Okay.
2002. Then I joined at about 2005, and I start working with the hardware before my time, pretty much again only do the license. But after that, we start coming up the machine, all kind of machine, like the consoles, the portable console, TV console. Then we move into the HDMI console and the arcade machine. So we moving to the cloud games up in about 2007. That's very, very early for everybody.
Yeah.
Before working with the cloud, but we start working on the cloud stuff since 2007.
Cool. Well, I've got some questions that I want to throw out at you guys. So nothing specific towards any individual, but if something jumps out at you, just throw it out there. So with this pinball, the Legends pinball, I did receive one for review, and I actually really enjoy it. The reason I enjoy it, it's nearly a full-size machine, so that's one of the biggest things for me, and the implementation being part of that whole family of products with the Legends Ultimate Arcade machine, everything just kind of being together. So, noticing that focus on the ecosystem of these devices, how do you guys envision the pinball integrating with that and the support going into the future? And specifically the vision overall.
Yeah, I would say that the pinball ecosystem kind of is integrated well within the Legends ecosystem. So we've looked at pinball being kind of a 3-faceted approach. The Legends pinball machine was in process, in work for some time. It wasn't announced till late last year. But in front of that, we wanted to see if we could do cloud pinball, and I started doing some talks with PK early summer of 2020, and the VPX and the future pinball communities are very prolific on the PC side of things, and people really enjoy those games quite a bit. So we wanted to see how can we share that experience with the Legends users, and so we began exploring that further to see if we could run those applications through the cloud. Those applications require a great deal of PC power, right? That some people don't want to deal with or don't have. So we wanted to bring that experience to the Legends users, and we were able to do that late summer of last year. So we had Steve from Nostalgia. He had approached many independent table builders and see if people would be interested in participating in that. And so that's grown over time, which has been a really exciting side of things. And those cloud pinball games will play across all the machines, including the Legends pinball. So that's been our kind of technical challenge to try to provide that to the user for that great experience, and we're building on that further as we go forward. The other side of the pinball universe is, of course, the AtGames Legends Pinball and the Gottlieb games. So those are running natively on that machine instead of being streamed like the cloud pinball. And then the other facet, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is the OCP project, which is Open Connected Pinball, which will allow you to play external games from your local PC on your AtGames Legends Pinball device.
So you touched on the OCP a bit. What are the differences between all the different modes that we have with the pinball machines? I've personally only played the included built-in games. I haven't messed with anything else, so I have absolutely no experience with any of these things. If everything's even implemented right now, I'm not sure. But how does all that work?
Sure. Well, the first piece of it, like I mentioned, was the cloud pinball, which is the streaming pinball for VPX and future pinball games, and that's running on AtGames servers. So that's available in ArcadeNet right now for everyone.
Okay.
To take a look at. So there's nine titles in there. One of the most popular is the Leprechaun King by Scotty Wick from Orbital Pinball. People really enjoy that game quite a bit. And most of those games, or a large portion of them, are leaderboard enabled as well. So you can have your high scores recorded and compete against your friends. It's a lot of fun. The second facet was the native games, the Gottlieb games, which are on all of the devices now that you can get. And on the AtGames Legend Pinball, it comes standard with that, those 22 tables. So that is running locally. Again, that's not streaming like the cloud pinball. And the third facet was the OCP, which is people running VPX or future pinball or other applications on their own machine, their own PC, and interfacing it with the AtGames Legends Pinball. And that's been a new development, which we kind of started at the end of last year, and it's developing as we speak, basically.
Cool. Definitely see a lot of potential for the local streaming. I think with I know I have other conversations later with our, talking about ArcadeNet and whatnot. And, I haven't done any of the cloud stuff other than like the arcade games that are built into ArcadeNet. And I mean, the experience has been good so far. I mean, latency and whatnot, but with pinball, I think, I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest things is latency, the way everything works. And, is that something that's a challenge right now? I personally haven't messed with it, but is that something that's going fluid, or is that something that is still being worked on? If anybody can address that.
Yeah, I mean, we're always improving, always making changes and tweaks. We're very active in the community, so we're very keen on issues that pop up, complaints people have. The development team is very good about, we do our weekly firmware updates. So, I mean, we are constantly tweaking and evolving and getting better as possible. And we test. And sure, everyone's going to have a different experience. Streaming is always one of those things where if you don't have a good connection in your home, it's, heaven forbid something's down on the server side, there's a whole multitude of facets that can change your experience. But I think the good thing on our end is that we're not just, giving out a product or giving out a service and then just like, well, this is it. Good luck. Hopefully it works out for you. Peace out. So we're constantly going back and testing and trying to make it as the best service we possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, I give you guys credit on those firmware updates. I think I've joked before. I think it's ridiculous that there's a firmware update every week, but I mean, it's actually a good thing. I mean, seeing everything, and it's not just kind of just thrown out there. Oh, there's a firmware update. It details everything that's going on, all that stuff. So I think that's a good thing. It's just when I seen that, it kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, these guys are pushing firmware updates every week. And that's, like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it seems like you're addressing, all those little things that come up. So definitely a positive there. But talking about the pinball machine as a whole, and like I said earlier, I've only messed with the 22 built-in games, and I've said it before. It doesn't matter the device, doesn't matter the games that are included. Not everybody's going to like every game on a system. For me, some of the games are kind of whatever, and some of them I really like. But like with the arcade's Legends, the Legends arcade machine, that grew and expanded. There were game packs that were thrown out there. Is that something that's going to be going on with the pinball machine? Is there going to be more games added to it? Other companies besides the Farsight Gottlieb, set? Is there going to be other stuff native?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We made the announcement before about Zachariah pinball. So there'll be several more tables coming that will run natively, and a lot sooner than a lot of people might suspect.
Cool. Any other, okay, I was aware of the Zachariah stuff. I mean, very minorly aware, but I don't know what the titles are yet. But I also heard some mumblings before Tato tables, some new stuff. Like, is that anything that's going to be coming anytime soon?
Yeah, that's there are some tables made are in progress.
Okay.
It's supposed to be targeted for third quarter this year.
Okay.
So that's based on the Taito IP, and but before that, like Matt was mentioning, the Zachariah tables will be over 100 tables available. So there's a lot of tables. There's a lot of incoming. So he's going to be very busy testing all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those, but those Taito tables, just another key thing is that these are built from the ground up. They're not other tables that are already out that have just been modified to work on the system. They're brand new from the ground up, being developed specifically for the Legends pinball.
So exclusive to the Legends pinball.
Exclusive.
Okay. I love me some Bubble Bobble. That's one of the big games. And can you share anything? Is there going to be a Bubble Bobble pinball table?
I cannot disclose any information. I don't know anything, honestly.
All right. Interview over. Come on now. We're supposed to get some exclusive information here. I know you know more, but all right, man. Fair enough. Some things got to be left to, surprise, I suppose. So, okay, moving on. We've touched on a little bit of everything here. Is there anything else that you guys want to add as far as how these programs are going to, work with OCP Cloud? Anything in addition to that we haven't covered already before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about cloud. There's we're still working on more tables for that. So there's 6 new tables coming out. Those are going to just start testing on our side. One of them is Pizza Time by Scotty Wick from Orbital Games. Again, that's another popular game that was just released recently in the VPX community. So that one is a lot of fun. So we've got
these
are like indie developers?
Yeah,
okay.
That's correct. Yeah, indie developers.
So that's kind of cool having the indie people, jumping into developing and adding stuff to the system. Kind of opens it up.
It does. And we encourage that, and that's what Steve, again, from Nostalgia, was working on, getting people kind of signed up for that. And that's an exciting thing to have your property, not your property, but your creation kind of featured on these machines. So that's one really nice thing. And then from the OCP development, like we were just mentioning earlier, that is a program where we have really engaged the community. We've talked to a lot of the first owners of AtGames Legends Pinball, get them involved in this process and help them to realize what they can do. For the people who have the VPX or future pinball machines running on their personal PC, to be able to interface with this machine relatively easily is a really great benefit, and it's a lot of fun. And so what we've done is we've had these kind of study groups on a weekly basis to talk about these the features they're looking for, and we've helped to try to develop a direction with this machine so we can externally interface and provide these a way for them to enjoy their games on the AtGames Legends Pinball. And we've been successful with that, to be able to use the back glass and the main screen, and also the AtGames Legends Pinball controls running VPX and Pinball on their external PC. And then, like I said, we're looking at more features regarding that, and one of which is a new board that AtGames is developing, and I'll have JC talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, currently people using some board from Amazon to convert the HDMI input to our second display, but the quality and also is not convenience for them, because they have to swap around between the pinball machine and in their PCs. So we're doing the new boards. So it has two HDMI inputs, one from the PC and one from our own machine, and we have the switch buttons. So they only need to set it up once and just press the button switch between the PC and our pinball machine.
So like a integrated HDMI switcher, because I know I looked at how to set that all up, and yeah, it was kind of like, you know, with the products that are available on Amazon and eBay and whatnot, and it did seem kind of like a hassle. To be honest with you, I have all the stuff to do it, the little, you know, third party DIY stuff, and I just hadn't bothered. I was like, I'm not tearing this thing down, or I mean, you didn't really have to tear it down, but you know, to remove things and then have to mess around with this. That's definitely cool. Keep an eye out for developments on that. I mean, it sounds like a lot more convenient than what's available now.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We make it more convenient. You just set up once, then you never need to touch it again. So yeah, just like the HDMI switch. We expect we release it at the end of February, so the public start getting it like sometime in the March.
Cool.
So that's just one facet of OCP, and again, we'll be expanding that program further and getting more user input from the community, and just trying to provide as much as we can with this machine. And that's the thing about AtGames with their machines, as you talked about the firmware, is we're constantly trying to update, trying to provide new features and make much more value for the product itself for the future proofing it by adding new features. And the AtGames Legends Pinball is also considered for that process.
Definitely awesome stuff. I mean, I know there's a lot of competition out there as far as similar, you know, not exactly the same, but pinball machines. There's other companies doing all that stuff. My stance is whatever you enjoy it. But, you know, as far as the full, like nearly full-size machine, the online integrations, I definitely like what you guys are doing here in the updates and whatnot. So
how are your high scores going so far?
I'm knocked out on everything, man.
Yeah.
Those leaderboards. I mean, I was on there a little early, but hey, when you got a head start, yeah, you're gonna get on the leaderboards. But yeah, you can't hold. Don't be too proud for long, because you get knocked off. But I have been jumping back on. That's the one thing I do like, is the leaderboard integrations and everything with that. I mean, you got your local stuff, but then, you know, having that internet connected and seeing other players out there and what their scores are, and you getting knocked off. I mean, it kind of irked me a little bit, but then it drives you to, you know, to focus on that particular game. And that's one thing I've been doing. There's a handful of games, 2 or 3, that nearly every night I jump on and I look at the leaderboards before I even get into the game. So that's definitely, I'd like that you guys added that into the system there. Definitely cool stuff. But is there anything else before? I mean, we've been going on for a little while here. Anything you guys want to add before we go?
I'd like to thank the community out there, because there's so many of the fans out there have helped on these projects with OCP and other things, just helping us out, testing, you know, just having a good time, messing with new features, trying to figure stuff out. And they've done some amazing things. And then on the testing side, I'd have to give a shout out to both the companies that are developing our pinball tables, Madlittlepixel and then Farsight Studios. Their teams are amazing. They take our inputs, they, you know, change things really quickly, make it the best user experience possible. So it's been a wonderful experience working with both of them, and hopefully everybody out there will get to see the fruits of those labor.
Cool. Anything else, guys? Dr. Mo?
No, I pretty much all we have.
We drained you. All right.
I would just reiterate what Matt was saying too, that we do listen to the community. We're trying to take your inputs when possible and make these changes to make it just a better product all the way around. And we enjoy it just as much as you do. And like Matt was saying with the OCP side, people have really taken what we've provided and even gone well beyond that, adding new systems and surround sound and all sorts of things to the pinball machine. It's really exciting to watch. And that's the idea of us kind of trying to get involved with the community and all working together to make the best experience possible.
Excellent. So I appreciate your guys' time, getting your faces out there, more information on what you guys deal with. I think that's a good thing for the community to see and hear from the people who are involved, because, for a long time, people just see the AtGames name and maybe they only associate it with certain things from before. I know my audience does, but there's a lot of people who've seen the things that are being done now. Definitely, like I keep saying, not the same AtGames from a few years back with the products. You guys have turned things around, shifted into a whole different marketplace, and I think it's pretty cool. So, good job, guys. Really appreciate having you and, getting this out there to everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Yes,
Thank you, guys.